I want you to imagine a scene with me. The date is August 20th, 2007. This young girl is hiking along the rugged, windswept shores of Jedediah Island. There are these beautiful ocean views and old growth forests. Basically, this British Columbia island is a popular destination and pretty much your classic PNW paradise. I mean, just picture it. What do you think when you think of Pacific Northwest vacay? Coffee, triple C, thick forest, gorgeous outcroppings, native birds, beachcombing on the sweeping beaches. And this island is only a few hours from Nanaimo, but because it's only accessible by boat, it feels remote. It's the perfect place to truly unplug. Plus, it's freaking gorgeous. Again, these old growth forests for hiking and exploring, native birds who nest there, beaches for swimming and... Okay, maybe not swimming because the water is still like 50 degrees even in the summertime, but you can like sunbathe and dip your feet, and you can beachcomb, which is what I imagine this young girl was doing when she discovered something odd. Odd, like, how odd? Like a set of dentures or something? No, although someone I know did find a pair of dentures on a cleanup dive. Twice. What this young girl found was different. She found a shoe. A right shoe. Blue and white Adidas. Size 12 men's shoe. Now, you're probably thinking, well, this can't be super out of place. I mean, beachcombing is a common hobby out here. People find all these thingamabobs and clothes and shoes included. But this was morbidly different. The shoe contained the remains of a decaying human foot. And it didn't stop there. Just a week later, Canadian police discovered a second shoe with a severed foot inside washed up on the beaches of Gabriola Island. Now you're wondering, wait, so this is the left foot from that first shoe, right? We got the full set, boys. Great work, case closed. And unfortunately, no. The second foot found was a completely different foot. A second right foot. In a black and white Reebok. Now, according to the Royal Canadian Mounted Police spokesman Gary Cox, finding one shoe is like 1,000,000 to 1 odds, but finding two is crazy. Agree with that. Although then he made some joke about like dancers with 2 left feet. This guy really wanted to cut loose. Sorry, I felt like I kind of just stepped in it there. If finding 1 foot is 1,000,000 to 1, and 2 is astronomical, what are the odds that 5 more severed feet would be discovered in the next year? Not surprisingly, after that, this case kinda goes viral. Okay, not just kinda, it blows up. People all over the world are going nuts trying to figure out where these feet are coming from. There's talks of serial killers, paranormal activity. Crime writers in Norway are using this as inspiration for their true crime novels. That's how big an impact this has. Oh, and the total foot count as of now, when I'm recording, 21 severed feet that have washed up in British Columbia and further south, including Seattle, Washington. Yeah, my hometown. Pretty creepy. Oh, even creepier. Sometimes it's not just the foot. Sometimes you include part of the leg bones, like this creepy, morbid little periscope. What's going on here? Is there a serial killer? Has the ghoul of Grey Harbor returned to haunt the Pacific Northwest, taking more victims by the... Okay, spoiler alert, no. I know that we're known here for our serial killers and our eerie, spoopy forest vibes, and we'll kind of talk about that a little bit later. But what's actually going on is far less sensational and more sad and scientific, which, by the way, is the same thing for the ghoul of Grey Harbor, if you ever want a story about that. But today is all about the severed feet of British Columbia. Why and how did 21 severed feet wash ashore? Where do they come from? And more importantly, I think everyone is curious to know, will this keep happening? So let's dive in, or step in, jump in, to the mystery of the Salish Sea severed foot mystery. Before we get steppin', welcome to the show. And if you're new, what an episode to step in on, because, what a topic we have today. This is What We See, Tales from Me, the Little Mermaid, here in the gorgeous, also apparently serial killer-laden Pacific Northwest, if you believe the conspiracy theories. I hope that if you like what you hear, you'll follow me on Spotify or YouTube, follow me on Instagram at Little Mermaid, or write in with your own salty story or watery tale you'd like me to cover, because there are so many and it's a lot of fun, and I would love to keep doing it and bringing new fun things for you, the audience. Now, as a custom on the show, we begin with some news of the world, ocean-related news, both local and today international. So with that, a new species, a deep sea species, has been discovered in the South China Sea. And this news is new, as in new. The research paper I found was published May 3rd, 2024. And what was the species, you ask? It was a cute, adorable type of porter crab. I don't know why, but I've started calling crabs curbs because I think it's cute. But if you hear me say curb, it's actually just a crab. And this curb was sampled at 897 meters. Like, this isn't just deep. This is deep. Like, I don't think Patty recreational limits go that deep, guys. I'm so sorry about that. This guy is super cool looking, like yellowy, orangey, spindly long legs, and cute face. Yes, the term cute face was used in the research paper, by the way. What about it? Fun fact also, the scientific name for this crab is Gordonopsis mazpo. Mazu, fun fact, is the name of the Chinese goddess of the sea. So that was the inspiration for this crab name. Maju is the patron goddess of sailors, fishermen, and travelers. And she is really popular, especially in southern China and China's coastal communities, like near where the crab was discovered. Just saying. By the way, there's even a temple in San Francisco dedicated to her. And her names are freaking awesome. Okay, she has one of them, which is Ling Hu Fu Ren, and that means Lady of Light and Kindness, or Tian Ho, which means Empress of Heaven. Although apparently if you want to call her to come help you out in a pinch, don't use her formal names, just be like, hey, you, lady, Maju, and she'll hurry up. Apparently if you use her formal name, she's like, oh wow, this is like, they really want me to kind of like come prepared, and she'll put on makeup and dress up and then take a little bit longer. So casual names only, please. And awesome job to these guys for discovering this cute little new species of curbs. On the subjects of curves, let's pivot back to local Pacific Northwest curbs in our next segment.
Can you see?
No. You cannot currently see the curbs because it's summer. We are full on Puget soup. Soup of the day is herbed lentil, split pea Puget sludge. You can't even see your fins. I'm happy there's 10 freaking viz, which, like, wow, I can see my gauges, and I wish I were kidding. For real though, the other day the viz was so bad. I was descending, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go quick and get under it, and I literally fucking face planted like a noob because the viz was so bad I couldn't see the bottom until I literally face planted. Oh god, and my dive buddy witnessed that. Oh lord. Don't tell my instructor, please. Now, certain sites are better than others, and for the most part, if you get deep enough, you can eventually get under that sludgy layer of Puget slime. And of course, once the bloom calms down, it's kind of having a rave right now. Whee! Oh my god, it's warm. It will open up a little bit, assuming, it doesn't keep getting hotter and hotter every single day, making more blooms, and climate changes everything, and oh god, quick, go to...
What can you see?
Oh, don't you love how this time of year there is so much cool life that we can't see because it's so freaking sludgy? Ugh! Okay, I'm complaining, but in all real, it's so pretty to dive right now. Okay, it's pretty when you don't look at the freaking sludge in the water, but if you look at just the critters themselves, it's really cool. And there's been a 6 gill shark sighting at Redondo Beach. Yes, I saw the video. There is proof. I don't know when the season will start exactly. No one ever knows. It's not like, let me check my calendar. And the sharks are like, oh, hey, Jimbo, the date's tomorrow. We gotta show up. And we always get sightings here and there, sometimes more or so others. They're technically around year-round, but I'm really hoping that this is a sign we're going to have an amazing shark season. Fingers crossed. Although, knowing my luck, I can only see 10 feet because of the visibility, and all the sharks are hanging out at 20 feet. Story of my life. Now, I want to tell you about a new dive site I went to at Turner Cove on the west side of Vashon Island. I did cheat a little bit because I have, an inn with the owners, and I got to do a shore dive from their house. The hike up and down is like sunrise, but it's worse because it's more steep and slippery, by the way. Now, north of there is a public nature area called Shingle Mill Creek Preserve. I have never been there. I don't know how easy it would be to haul dive gear from the road to the beach. And if you want to scope it with me, let me know because I am totally down. It is a macro paradise. Also, while we're at it, let's raise a petition to put in for a public access road, including an elevator and a hot tub and a fish and chip stand. Who's with me? Just me? Okay, anyways, macro paradise. Dodo nudibranchs. I have never seen these nudibranchs before, and when I saw them, I lost my goddamn mind because I'm like, what the hell? A new species of nudibranch I've never seen? It's really freaking exciting. Also, Pacifica angulas. I've only ever seen them at 2 other sites. And then a giant nudibranch. I have never seen a giant nudibranch outside of Canada. Plus, a giant, sprawling seal field. Why am I trying to say seal? There were seals there, but they didn't play with me. A giant sprawling field of sand dollars, baby sea spiders, and Eubranchus San Juanes. That's actually their name. They're really pretty. They're kind of a cross between like a opalescent meets a red flabellina, kind of, but also way prettier. Apparently it's more on the rare side, mostly found in the San Juans and Keystone. Apparently, if I find one there, I will let you guys know. And if you want more rare critters, head to Alki Junkyard. The rumors of the rare salt and pepper nudibranch are true. Also, I just found a frosted tip nudibranch there. Again, I have never seen one. Well, I'm half sure I saw one last winter at Redondo, but as soon as I saw it and went to raise my camera, my buddy's like, we have to turn around. And I'm like, no, one more minute. He's like, no. And I'm like, no. So I don't know if this is the first time I've seen one or not, but I officially have seen one. They aren't just a myth. Can confirm. Check my Instagram for dive reports on my stories so you can follow along with the cool stuff I'm seeing and these reports. Now, while you go to Instagram, let's dive back into... There are many conspiracies around this severed foot mystery of the Salish Sea. And let's debunk all of them. The multitudes of them. Some of which get incredibly interesting. I mean, Reddit put in the legwork for these conspiracies, I swear. Oh, my favorites include, let's see here, the feet belonging to victims of boat crashes, plane crashes, the 2011 tsunami in Japan, a sicko prankster with access to cadavers and a pile of running shoes, and then there's the more paranormal ones, which I think these are half kidding, but maybe someone actually believes them, that Sasquatch is hunting random hikers, eating their bodies, but leaving just the feet. Apparently he got full by the time he reached the feet, or he's just really freaking picky. Others say it's a serial killer with a foot fetish following in the steps of other famous serial killers from the Pacific Northwest, like Bundy, the Green River Killer, and some chucklefuck named Jerry Brudos. If you're wondering, who the fuck is Jerry? Why is fucking Jerry on the list? Why do I give a shit about Jerry? Jerry is also known infamously as the shoe foot fetish killer.
Emotional damage.
fucking Google it. I am not making this up. This is so on the toe. If I saw it in a novel, I'd be like, oh, no way. That's way too obvious. How cliche. Oh, it's real. Yeah, it's real. And somehow in all the articles on the severed foot mystery, nobody mentioned this. I was reading a totally random article and just happened to stumble across this asshole. What the hell, you guys? You're slacking. Let's debunk this right off the bat. How do we know this wasn't a serial killer? Because if the feet had been cut off, sawed off, or removed mechanically, it would show. There would be clean cuts, there would be marks. And there were none. According to the BC Coroner Service, Barb McClintock, we found there is nothing suspicious in any of them. It appears that the feet became disarticulated from the body naturally with time, as the bodies decompose and are eaten by sea life or other marine organisms. Let's flesh this out a little bit. Body enters water, and body sinks to the seafloor. Then all the little critters and crustacean and fish are like, free buffet, y'all, and they go to town. Sea critters can eat a body to bones in only a few days, apparently, under the right circumstances. And then we eat the sea critters, which is... yeah, I'm gonna give up my seafood diet right about now. Thank you very much. And guess what areas little critters tend to prefer? The little soft, squishy bits. Areas like, I don't know, the ankle. So you have natural decomposition, plus the fact that these critters are like, ooh, these are some sweet, tender ankle muscles. And you have a situation where the feet will naturally detach from the rest of the body. And also because the bodies are wearing shoes, that's kind of a layer of protection, like a cocoon, that keeps them from getting nommed right away.
But Ariel, what if they were murdered before they went into the water? The shoe fetish killer lives! Jerry lives!
I guess that could be possible. Except for the DNA testing. Yeah, sorry, no, not the case. Most of these missing feet have been identified, and the people whose feet they belong to, they went missing and were presumed to have committed suicide or died by accident. The first foot found in our story about that young girl, he was known to suffer from depression, and he was reported missing. A pair of New Balance sneakers, both of them, the matching set that were found like a couple of years apart, they were matched to a woman who committed suicide in 2004. And then another foot was matched to a fisherman who vanished in 1987. It was missing for years. And this is more tragic. It's horribly tragic and way less sensational than a serial killer.
But Ariel! 1987? How could a foot have survived that long? Why was it only discovered now? Unless the foot fetish killer was keeping it in his stockpile of evil. Sounds like a thing Jerry would do, don't you think?
So, the feet were found in varying levels of decomposition, and many were skeletonized, which matches the whole thing about the critters kind of nibbling away at all those fleshy little bits. Yet even though the flesh is gone, the harder stuff like bone is gonna stick around. In a previous podcast, we talked to two local divers who helped recover the skeletal remains of a man who went missing on Whidbey Island 10 years ago. If you haven't listened, go listen. And if you haven't seen it on YouTube, go to YouTube. I got to dive the site where the body was discovered, and it's creepy as shit, and also covered in chicken bones from crab traps, the very crabs who probably ate that guy. Stop eating crabs. Crabs are disgusting, you guys. Getting back on track here. Because the feet are also in shoes, it offers, like I said before, this layer of protection as well as buoyancy. And before you ask, yes, there have been a few discoveries of leg bones still attached to the feet, the creepy little periscope-like things. One of them belonged to a man who had gone missing in September of 2017. His body was found 2 months after his disappearance in roughly the same area that he vanished from, without the legs attached. And his foot and leg bone, the two were together, were later found washed up near Victoria, BC. There is another leg bone example, but this one's a bit more strange. This one was found under the Ship Canal Bridge in Lake Union, Seattle, Washington, back in 2011, I believe. Apparently, it was found in a plastic garbage bag, and the police know fuck all even now, and that's literally all I could find on it. Like, just from those details alone, I feel like this shouldn't be on the list, but, and again, what do I know?
But Ariel! Why are they all in running shoes? Serial killers have an MO, and this is his. It's the foot fetish fucker at work. Hashtag justice for foot fetish serial killer. Justice for Jerry.
Okay, no, Justice. Fucking Jerry killed people. Like, he was a fucking serial killer. Don't idolize serial killers. Also, running shoes and also the occasional hiking boot, these are naturally buoyant. Kind of like a foot-size little life jacket preserver thing. Once the foot detaches from the body, again, naturally, due to decomposition and critters, that buoyant little shoe is gonna shoot up to the surface where it's gonna bob in the currents and make its way to its next destination. This is also why there haven't been feet discovered in high heels or sandals or even flip-flops. Those will just sink and get lost. Okay, I also found an article that suggested around the time that a lot of these feet started washing up, there was a change in shoe manufacturing, so that running shoes became a little more buoyant, but I can't verify this, so yeah. I take that for what you will. And running shoes have always been kind of buoyant. They have that blown rubber heel that's meant to kind of protect you when you strike the ground and makes it so it's a bit less jarring on your knees, your back, your joints. So it kind of makes sense these shoes will be buoyant, right?
But Ariel! Why did all these feet start showing up all of a sudden? Explain that. Shoe fetish.
Okay, fuck off. There is no shoe fetish killer if you don't mind. Also, no, they didn't. This is not the first time this has ever happened in history. Even in BC, one famous example actually happened in 1887 when BC police discovered a severed leg in a hiking boot. It belonged to a man who went missing several days before, was reported missing, and it's thought that he died after a cougar attack. There's even a square named after this incident called, I kid you not, this is so bad, Leg in Boot Square. What a misstep. Really tripped at the final hurdle there, buddy boo-boos. You could have done so much more with that. And again, let's be real. Shoes have been washing up on beaches for years. And after these discoveries made the news, more people were like, oh, have you heard of the shoe, blah, blah, blah. And of course, that meant more people were checking. More people checking means you're going to find a lot more than previously when everyone was like, oh, a shoe. That's freaking trash. Just ignore that, please.
But Ariel! Why BC? Why the Pacific Northwest? Why are they showing up here and no one else? It's Jerry. It has to be Jerry. It's always been Jerry.
Okay, let's take a beat. Severed feet can be found anywhere in the world, not just in the Pacific Northwest. Don't worry, rest of the world. You have your own severed feet to worry about, just what you wanted to hear. Did you guys know that severed feet and also other body parts were found on the beaches of Rio de Janeiro before the Olympics in 2016? Oh yeah, it was probably great for the triathlon and the beach volleyball people. It's like, what's that? Oh, just work around it, don't mind it. Although, this does bring up an interesting point. Why does this area have such a high concentration? Well, there's a couple of factors here. Firstly, the victims are all from these large and very densely populated areas. More people mean more bodies, meaning more chances of said parts of bodies being found. To quote Kathy Tyler, a former forensic anthropologist at the King County Medical Examiner's Office, quote, "This is a consequence of having a densely populated area on the coast. So you have a huge source of potential feet bobbing about, and then you look at things like winds, tides, and the currents around here because they're very different than any other part of the world." So now we turn to oceanic professor Parker McCready of the University of Washington. And according to him, the Salish Sea has the ideal conditions to bring dismembered feet to shore. Lucky us, am I right, gang? We're so special, am I right? Now, according to Professor McCready, the things that float in the ocean's surface move with the currents, but are also pushed a bit by the wind, and this can be significant in getting them to shore. More so, the prevailing winds around here, the Salish Sea, are from west to east, so floating stuff in this part of the Pacific gets blown to the coast very effectively.
But Ariel! What about the shoes found with meat and occult symbols? It's obviously Jerry trying to throw us off his evil scent.
That's literally made up. Okay, there were shoes found with, meat in them, but those were hoaxes. And to me, that's even more disturbing than a serial killer. Okay, not more disturbing, but it's pretty freaking disturbing that some bored fucker with no respect for the dead, or the fact that these are actual people whose families are learning about their loved ones' bodies making the news, thought it was really funny to be like, hee, I have some leftover steak, I'm gonna put that in the shoe and chuck it on the beach. Like, oh, ha, 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 you're so clever. Wow, ha, ha, ha. Or, alternative theory, and I could probably believe this one's true. There was a guy that was really, really high one day and thought, I want to make a homemade crab trap. Again, those crusty fuckers feed on corpses. Hard pass on the crab cakes, thank you very much. So what have we learned today? Well, first of all, don't trust a guy named fucking Jerry, I'm sorry if your name is Jerry, but fucking Jerry, and yes, it's fucking Jerry because that guy was a goddamn serial killer who tortured and murdered innocent people, okay? So, fuck you, Jerry. Die. Actually, you're already dead, but rotten hell, Jerry. But more so, the mystery of the Salish Sea severed feet is more tragic and a little more mundane than the surrounding mythos would lead you to believe. And at the end of the day, these feet belong to real people. People dealing with depression and mental health issues, who had loving families, who reported them missing and were finally able to get some closure after their feet were found. Most of these feet have been linked to the people they belong to. And it's really likely considering, look what we have here. We have a lot of people with a lot of mental health issues, myself included. Although, don't worry about me, please. I wasn't crying for help. Please, I'm fine. Don't worry about me. I'm good. I promise, I'm good. But it's likely that more shoes will wash ashore in the future. And to help with the identification, the BC Coroner's Office launched an interactive portal where people can see where unidentified human remains have been reported along with any relevant and known information. And their goal is that more families can get closure so their loved ones aren't remembered as size 12, left side, black and white Adidas. And if you have any information, please head to their website, I'll link it in the show notes, and file a report. Let them know what you know. Or if you happen to know anyone who could use this information, please pass it along. Serial killer or not, supernatural, Bigfoot, cougar attack or not, these feet belong to people and they were loved. And their families deserve closure and to know what happened to their loved ones. And that is the Salish Sea severed foot mystery. Again, I will link the remains porthole, and if you have any information, please report it to the BC Coroner Service. You never know, maybe it will crack the case on some unidentified feet. And that is it for this episode of What We See. We've had a couple morbid, actually, no, this is our first morbid one for a while, and don't worry, we'll have more amazing salty stories and watery tales coming up in the future for all you lovely folks out there. So I hope you subscribe on Spotify. Check out our YouTube. This will be on YouTube as well. There will not be any bones, though. You can Google those yourself. Although I personally wouldn't, because that is a disgusting rabbit hole that I found myself down, and I really don't recommend it. If you have any notes or want to write in with a story idea, shoot me an email or a DM on Instagram. That will all be in the show notes. I hope to see you in our next episode. Have a good one, guys.